I'm Marilena Tarantino from POLI.design, and today I will present the Specializing Master in Strategic Design. Please feel free to use the chat to submit any questions you have, which we will address in the second part of the session. Before leaving the floor to the faculty, I'd like to tell you a bit more about the POLI.design claim, Unlock Your Design Energy. This means enhancing the potential and differences of each student, nurturing personal aptitudes and inclination. Our aim at POLI.design is to offer a supporting environment that empowers students to become professionals ready to assume leadership roles and tackle complex challenges. Each specializing master course program, of course, unlocks a distinct energy, but they all share the same design-driven approach. Now, let me introduce the speaker, Michele Melazzini. I leave you the floor.
Thank you, Marilena. Nice to meet you all, even though remotely connected. My name is Michele, and I'm coordinating the activity or workshop inside this Master in Strategic Design. I'm very happy to be here in presenting the whole master to all of you. Of course, I'm only one of the member of the faculty that you can see in this slide. Professor Kabiro Cautela and Francesco Zurlo are directing this master, but also the soul of this master are Anna Consolati and Marilena Tarantino, which is with me today for introducing to you all this master. So what is strategic design about? Strategic design from the point of view of POLI.design and let's say the Politecnico of Milan perspective is an activity that it's a kind of a discipline, an evolution of the discipline of design, even though this master is as a very long story. We are already at the 28th edition, therefore there is a long legacy and roots of this practice and discipline and the evolution of design. From our interpretation, strategic design is something that is related to the combination of the product, the service, and the system. We can't anymore design something that is not connected and integrated into this systemic view. But this systemic view implies also a capability to understand the business implication and the business aspect that has to be considered when we design in the actual world. This master aims then to transmit to you as a future candidate this approach to innovation, which combine therefore capabilities in being able to understand what can be new market, what are the new behavior of user, explore a new context of use, as you can read here, change what we intend as product meaning, which means understanding the meaning behind everything we design. We have to be aware, as I was mentioning before, what are the competitive rules and what does it mean being competitive nowadays, which implies a capability of understanding, again, the business context and the context in which each of the product service system design that you will go through implies. But also, we would say that this master transmit also some entrepreneurial skills and competencies in order to understand how can we be the one that start new business ventures. So as you can maybe grasp from my from the very first part of this introduction from my side, we are combining business design with service design in a way, and strategic design as we define. Therefore, we are dealing with two disciplines: the design discipline and the frontiers of the design from my point of view, and the innovation management. As you can see below, small in the slide, we are starting in October. 35 are the available seats, and there are all the details of hours and ACTs as that are delivered for this master. But these aspects are going to be then dedicated, explained in a dedicated session at the end of this presentation. Let me go through a bit more what are the goals of this master. First of all, we will invest a lot of time in transferring capabilities and getting used to being able to set the problem rather than solving the problem. Of course, we jump from problem setting to problem solving, which is a typical activity of the designers and the professionals that works in the world of design and innovation. Nevertheless, the strategic lenses do put a lot of effort in understanding what is and how can we really set and frame a problem that is promising, that is fertile. Therefore, it's really important for us to train future talents in being able to understanding the complexity, and among this complexity, being able to set the problem. Which kind of problem, what really differs, and let's say differentiate a strategic designer from other kind of professionals in coping with the complexity, is being able to approach what has been defined in the literature, the wicked problem. Wicked problem are those one that can be splitted into sub-problem. Wicked problem are those problems that are so complex that we can't consider only a small portion of that. We always have to consider the perspective of the problem that we are setting, but also keep thinking about the systemic perspective, the overall implication, and therefore having this flexibility in the brain can be trained, trust me. I love to train inside the master, and these areas can be really be useful for the future career of all of you. Second of all, I was mentioning already in the previous slide, having an entrepreneurial attitude, which doesn't mean being able to open your own entrepreneurial venture, but also being a self-entrepreneur of your career inside companies, inside corporation, or inside the context where you will work into. Of course, we are transferring in most of the part, mostly in the first part of the master, some managerial and management skills. We want to give you some first point in order to being able to manage complex process, manage people, manage innovation, combining and having faculty members that belongs to business and innovation management expertise. This is connecting also to the one that you can see as a next point, so generate also corporate visions. The future you can be the one that has been entitled to work on the future vision of the corporation, working on the futures, being able to work on futures not only on the side of future studies and design studies, but also again being aware of the complexity of the innovation realms and the business implications. That's the last point. I have to also share with you that during the master you will acquire and you will test a lot of tools. Tools from our point of view are really tools to train your brain, to train your competencies, and being able also to communicate, to present, to transfer. We are meant to be able to translate complexity. Therefore, also this aspect can be considered one of the peculiar points of the strategic design master. Since the very beginning, since the beginning of, let's say, when this master was born, we develop and we deliver this master in partnership with the Graduate School of Management of Politecnico of Milan. Therefore, the main partner, so part of the faculty belongs to POLI.design as expertise in the frontiers aspect of this practice and these disciplines, and the other side also belongs to the managerial school that belongs still to the Polimi system. But we have also another important partner in terms of business school. Antwerp Management School is another partner based in Antwerp in Belgium. With them, it's already 10 years that we develop an extensive workshop which combines both the expertise of their faculty and our faculty. But I will go through more in detail in the next part of the presentation. So as you can see, we are combining our own expertise at our school, which is very multidisciplinary, but also having partners, strategic partners, business partners in terms of universities, in order that we can offer an overall and comprehensive training competencies for you to become strategic designers that is able to control the complexity both from the design side and the business design side. The structure of the master. So the structure of the master is organized in the way that you can see in this screen. First of all, we have the first part of the master that is dedicated to the what we call empowerment and soft skill development. So you will have courses dedicated to empower your own expertise already existing in yourself, but also experimenting new soft skills that are really relevant in a world, in a professional world that we are living right now. The second area is related to the management area, as I was mentioning to you before. You will have professors dedicated to this, covering different kind and perspective on the management, on the innovation management, and not only. And then this will give you, let's say, the basic point in order to then have and start what we call the intersection area, which is very peculiar in terms of courses and theories and practices, because it merges the management area with the design area. Then you will expect, we have and we love to train on the design side, on the strategic design side. So the kind of courses that you will go through into the design area are of course peculiar for becoming a strategic designer and being able to deliver content that are highly qualitative, but also being able to acquire competencies and practices that will be connected to the way also design is evolving, because design is as a practice and is a discipline that is always evolving. And then, as the last point, as you can see, let me share with you that you will go through extensive and intensive workshops. So, by definition, our school deliver our master, and POLI.design as a school delivered project-based learning, which means that we apply and we try to transfer to you theory and practice through and via project. And thanks to the extensive and intensive workshop, we have the chance to involve company and corporation in having a really what we call workshop is an experience of facing a real challenge proposed by a real company and that you will face within teams, and you will actually put in practice what you have learned in the previous module. Also in this case, you will not be alone, but you will be guided by professional tutors, faculty members that will then guide you through approaching a real business design challenge and innovation challenge. And then we have also the intensive one, which are shorter, but still based on a specific challenge and based on a specific project. Here you can see the timeline of the master. The timeline is organized in the first part. You will have all the theoretical lesson and all also the workshop and company visit that I mentioned to you in the side of the last block that we just discussed it, and will last until May 2026. Then included in the package of the master, you will also have you have to experience an internship in which you can then actually put in practice and test and experiment what you have learned in the first part. And then we will have the graduation session from February 2027. What are the kind of professional outcomes that you can see, that usually we see as a result of participating to this master? We synthesize in this slide, but then to be honest, the professional realm is really evolving. So for sure, from this master, we are having a lot of alumni that then cover position, right, innovation manager, R&D managers, designers that are able to intervene into complex projects within the consultancy or within big and small corporations, so leading the strategic role of design inside the corporation. So you might also being able to become a design director, a project manager in specific, let's say, context in specific company. But let me also share with you, as I was mentioning, that the professional world outside there is evolving, and the capability of being an entrepreneur of yourself and building your own career thanks to the competencies that you will acquire with this master will enable you to enter as a really change maker, whatever will be the context in which you will work into. Why choosing this master? I hope that after these around 10 minutes of my talk, you already have some clue and some motivation in applying to this master. But to synthesize, one of the key content that you will for sure leave if you will be part of this master is an immersive learning experience in one of the best universities in the world. But let me say that one of the things that is really unique is interacting with top scholars, top professional in the world of design and innovation management. Let me say, we are always in contact with very innovative organizations, so also be in touch with a network of companies that is very relevant for you and for the present and for the future. Let me say that also, for me, the key point is also the networking and the experience of exchange of an international bunch of students and human beings that always we collected, and we are lucky that because every year is really a powerful connection of you, a group of students in which you learn among each other and we as well learn from you. So I will let to then again to Marilena for giving you a more specific explanation on how to apply to this master. Thank you. Marilena.
Thank you, Michele, for your presentation. I'll take the floor again to provide more details about the application process for the next edition of the Strategic Design Master, which will begin in October 2025. On the Specializing Master webpage on the POLI.design website, you will find the full list of required materials for the selection phase. By clicking on the Apply button, you will be able to create your personal account and upload the necessary files. The application will then be completed on the Politecnico di Milano website by uploading the documents related to your academic qualification. If you need any assistance during this phase, you can book a call by scanning the QR code. Then there are two main steps to follow. The first one is the selection step, which must be completed no later than 60 days before the course starting date. And then there is the second step, that is the enrollment step, to be completed by 45 days. Please note that applications are processed in chronological order and spots are limited, so don't wait for the last minute to apply. Additionally, by uploading your documents, you will already be eligible to attend the next day of motivational interview that is scheduled on June 4. You can find the course fee listed on this slide, along with our promotional policy designed specifically for this program, an initiative to support and design the potential of those who choose POLI.design. In particular, I'd like to highlight the partial exemption of 25% that is valid till May 30. So now we can move to the Q&A session. I will read out the question that we have in the chat box. The first question is, how would the ideal candidate for Strategic Design Master differ from that one of Service Design Master?
Thank you for the question. It's a very interesting one, actually. We have inside the Strategic Design Master, of course, some service design courses, practices. The main difference, I would say, of the candidate of our master is mostly related on what you want to do in your future. So for sure, a service designer will be able in the future to be really a professional expert of designing services until the very detail and specific detail of the service. So being like a super powerful and impactful designer in the realm of service, of experiences. On our side, the candidate that then instead will become a strategic design practitioner after the end of this master will be more trained on understanding the strategic perspective on why designing a service and how to include the service on a specific, let's say, context. This is very like giving to you, Marilena, and to the one that mentioned this question, an example, a real practical example. But in terms of future career, let's say that strategic designer will for sure handle also some service design project, but more on the side of understanding the reason why we have to design either a service or a product or a combination of them, as I was mentioning. Therefore, the candidate of a strategic design is the one that wants to understand more on the side of no matter for profit or not profit, the business implication of every project. And therefore, I would hope that then in the future will be the one that take the decision or take the direction or understand the context on how to explore then the future execution of a project. So a more strategic, sorry to use this word, but a more strategical profile rather than a more executive and practical one, execution one.
Thank you, Michele. Another question is, can you give an example of project carried out in the strategic challenge during the master program?
Yeah, thank you for the question, because I realize that I don't give you too much explanation on the extensive workshop, for example, in Antwerp, in partnership with Antwerp Management School. With Antwerp Management School, we have 3 weeks workshop, and we have a specific challenge. Usually we have 2 business challenge, because the class is divided in 2 macro clusters, and the teams are a combination of strategic designers, future strategic designer, and business expert that belongs to the Master of Innovation and Entrepreneurship of Antwerp Management School. In team, you will face a challenge like, for example, this year we have a very powerful technology. We have a company that is developing a smart flooring system for sport venues. And the kind of a challenge that they have to go through is to find a strategic adoption of this very powerful technology in order to be used not only in the context of the sports. So this kind of really understanding why and how we can give value and meaning and reasonable adoption of a specific technology. But also we have also, to be honest, the chance of having a collaboration of companies that are really committed to work with us and that they really understand why they can invest in this open innovation approach.
Another question is there any specific background a candidate should have in order to apply?
Well, we have a huge variety of background, right, Marilena?
Yes.
So we really have a lot of different. I think it's one of the key points of the group of students that we always select for this master. So we both have always people that do have a bachelor degrees in the different kind of design. But also we had also candidate that has a bachelor degree in engineering. Either I think we have some lawyer, communication, expert in other field, also more humanistic side as well, not only technical side, business studies. So that's the key point also of the master. So combining, we always try to select and open this master to different candidates, because will be one of the enriching elements.
Thank you. Then there is another question. After submitting the application, how many weeks till we can hear back on the decision? Usually you'll have the feedback in 2, maximum 3 weeks from the motivational interview. And then there is another question. Could you also please expand on what the entry test for the admission will look like and how to best prepare for it?
That's another good question. Thank you. So the entry test is going to be an exercise of understanding from your perspective, what does it mean, what is an example for you, a key references for you as a strategic designer or a designer that apply a strategic lenses into the world, as well as another example of a selection and study of a case of a company that from your point of view is adopting strategic design. This for us is very important to understanding your interpretation of the topic of strategic design, which of course you will study during the master, but for us is important beforehand that we understand your interpretation. Let me give you a suggestion for preparing it. Please, be among the lines that we will read in your entry test. It's important that we get your own interpretation on strategic design. Among the exercises, not like an exercise only that you can demonstrate that you already understand what is strategic design, but we do really care in selecting, in understanding your critical approach in observing what's going on in terms of having a strategic lens in applying design.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is another question I would like to ask. Will there be an intake in the first semester of 2026? The answer is yes, we will have another intake that will start in March 2026, and we will open the admission as soon as we close the selection process for this intake. So I kindly suggest you to check on our website and the master page of the strategic design. Then there is a question related to the internship. You mentioned an abroad internship. Do we as students need to find a company, or do you have a network where we can choose from?
So the approach on the internship is we of course have a network of company that are eager to start an internship with the talented candidates. So usually we propose a set of possible opportunities to you. We mention international because actually we are cooperating with a company that are not only based in Italy, but also Europe-wise, I would say. Therefore, this is why it's an international one. And in terms of what was the second part of the question about the internship? The kind of
Do we
company?
students need to find a company, or do we
To
have
find. Yeah, that was another point. It happened that you, as entrepreneur of yourself, you find your own company. You might have already some contact, or you met someone during the process, or you are eager to apply to some company. Therefore, you can also be, again, proactive in finding your own opportunity for developing your own internship.
Okay, we don't have any other question in the chat, but if you have it, you can write in the chat box and we will reply to your questions later. So I would like to thank you, Michele, for this presentation, and stay connected for the next one.
Thank you.